Since the beginning, science fiction films have shown us the future, warned us about ourselves, and asked questions nobody else wanted to ask. Most of those movies have faded from memory. Others never did. In this video, I'm not talking about my personal favorites, but the movies that refuse to go away. The ones that fans still measure against everything else. These are the classic science fiction films that shaped the genre and quietly changed it forever. Are they truly the greatest science fiction films of all time? Let's get into it. Fantasy, sci-fi, nostalgia, Rerun Zone. Number 10, Them, 1954. In the New Mexico desert, State Trooper Ben Peterson discovers a traumatized little girl, the sole survivor of an attack that left her family's trailer destroyed.
This blood must be 10-12 hours old.
A second incident at a nearby general store reveals no motive like robbery, only a strange sound in the air. FBI agent Robert Graham joins the investigation, along with myrmecologist Dr. Harold Medford and his daughter Pat. When the scent of formic acid triggers the girl into screaming, their fears are confirmed. Atomic testing near Alamogordo, New Mexico, has created giant carnivorous ants. A massive nest is discovered and destroyed, but two winged queens escape, raising the terrifying possibility that humanity could be overrun within a year.
And there shall be destruction and darkness come upon creation, and the beasts shall reign over the earth.
Clues ranging from downed aircraft to a sugar trail lead authorities to Los Angeles, where troops seal off storm drains in a desperate race to rescue two missing boys. Them is often dismissed as a simple monster movie, but it's far more than that. Released in the shadow of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the ants are not villains, they're consequences of atomic radiation. The film treats science seriously and respects its audience. It channels real post-war anxiety into a gripping story. It also helped legitimize science fiction as a genre capable of meaning, intelligence, and lasting impact. Number 9, This Island Earth, 1955. Atomic scientist Cal Meacham barely survives a mysterious mid-air power failure when his jet is surrounded by an eerie green glow that guides him safely to the ground.
Jerking around must have caused a flame out. No power, no nothing.
Soon after that, he begins to receive advanced components made of unknown materials, along with instructions to build a strange device called an interocitor, technology far beyond anything on Earth. When activated, the machine reveals Exeter, a white-haired stranger who claims Cal has passed a secret test, then instantly destroys the device to erase all evidence.
Please step back or you may be harmed.
Cal is flown by a pilotless airliner to an isolated research compound where scientists from around the world are working under Exeter's supervision, including Cal's former love interest, Dr. Ruth Adams. When their attempts to leave are blocked and an escape effort ends in deadly force, the truth finally comes out.
I won't ask you to condone what we've done. All I ask is that when you understand the plight of my people, you try to have more sympathy for our deeds.
Exeter is an alien from the doomed planet Metaluna, recruiting human minds to save his world from destruction. This Island Earth stands as one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. It dared to imagine interplanetary politics, alien technology, and planetary extinction at a time when most sci-fi stayed safely grounded. And of course, there's the unforgettable Metaluna monster, sealing its place in sci-fi history. Number 8, The Incredible Shrinking Man, 1957.
People don't get shorter, Mr. Carey. They just don't get shorter.
While on vacation with his wife, Scott Carey is briefly engulfed by a strange, shimmering mist. At first, nothing seems wrong, but later, his clothes begin to loosen, and doctors confirm the impossible. Scott is actually shrinking.
Then you know what's causing me to get smaller.
We think we do, Mr. Carey. That's why I asked you here.
As there is no cure, Scott becomes a medical curiosity and a media spectacle, retreating from public view as the strain on his marriage deepens. Reduced to childlike height, he struggles with humiliation and despair. He briefly finds comfort in a friendship with Clarice, a little person who helps him accept his condition, until he finally realizes that he is now shrinking even further. Forced to live in a dollhouse, Scott's frustration grows, and when a sudden attack by the family cat sends him falling into the basement, he's presumed dead, trapped, alone in a vast, hostile world of ordinary objects turned deadly.
Louise! Louise! The cellar! Look in the cellar!
What follows is both a survival story and an inward journey. Battling hunger, flooding water, and a monstrous spider, Scott's physical struggle slowly becomes philosophical. As he continues to shrink beyond visibility, the film shifts from fear to reflection, questioning identity, insignificance, and humanity's place in the universe. The incredible shrinking man doesn't lecture or explain itself. It just lingers, quietly, thoughtfully, long after it ends, which is exactly why it remains one of the most profound and greatest science fiction films ever made. Number 7. The Fly, 1958.
Don't hurt it. God, don't let it get out.
In Montreal, scientist Andre Delambre is found dead in a hydraulic press, his head and arm crushed beyond recognition. His wife, Helene, calmly confesses to the killing, but refuses to explain why. Her strange behavior, including an obsessive search for a fly with a white head, convinces Andre's brother Francois and Inspector Charras that the truth is far more disturbing than a simple crime. Under pressure, Helene finally tells her story.
This is not a confession. Although I killed my husband, I'm not a murderess. I simply carried out his last wish.
Andre had perfected a matter transporter capable of disintegrating and reassembling objects. Confident in his work, he secretly tests the machine on himself. Unseen, however, is a common housefly that enters the chamber, and the device merges their atoms.
I've had a serious accident, but I'm not in danger at the moment, although it's a matter of life or death. Andre!
Andre survives, but horribly altered. Hiding his disfigured head beneath a cloth, he communicates only through notes and gestures, begging Helene to find the fly so the experiment can be reversed. As time passes, his human intellect begins to fade, replaced by something increasingly alien, forcing Helene to confront an unthinkable choice. The fly isn't just shocking, it's tragic. It treats scientific ambition as a moral risk, not a triumph, and frames transformation as loss instead of spectacle. That emotional seriousness, paired with unforgettable imagery and restraint, is why The Fly endures as one of the most powerful and unsettling science fiction films ever made. Number 6. Forbidden Planet, 1956.
You see anything out there, Doctor? Nothing. Batteries. Fire!
It's the 23rd century, and a starship is sent to the distant world of Altair 4 to investigate a colony expedition that vanished 20 years earlier. When they arrive, the crew is warned away by Dr. Edward Morbius, who claims to live safely on the planet with his daughter Altera and their highly advanced robot servant, Robbie.
Welcome to Altair 4, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence.
Ignoring Mobius's warning, Commander John Adams lands and learns that an invisible, unstoppable force wiped out the original colony. Morbius reveals he's been studying the remains of the Krell, an extinct civilization whose vast underground machinery still operates beneath the planet. Technology capable of unimaginable power. Exposure to one Krell device has dramatically increased Morbius's intellect, though he insists humanity is not ready to control such forces. Soon, the starship is sabotaged and attacked by an unseen creature immune to conventional weapons. As Adams investigates the Krell complex, he discovers something disturbing. The same advanced technology that destroyed the Krell is now being shaped by the unconscious mind of a human being.
Monsters from the id.
Huh?
Monsters from the subconscious.
Forbidden Planet transformed science fiction. It replaced external monsters with psychological terror, fused serious ideas with stunning design, and introduced concepts decades ahead of their time. Its influence echoes through everything from space opera to thoughtful, idea-driven sci-fi, making it a classic with a foundation that the genre still stands on. Number 5. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951.
You see, the electricity's been neutralized all over the world.
Bobby was telling the truth, wasn't he?
A flying saucer lands in Washington, D.C., throwing everyone into a panic. As soldiers surround the craft, a humanoid alien steps forward, announcing he comes in peace and with goodwill. When a nervous soldier shoots him as he reveals a small device, a massive robot named Gort emerges and effortlessly disintegrates nearby weapons until the alien, Clad 2, orders him to stop. Taken to Walter Reed Hospital, Klaatu insists his message concerns the entire planet and must be delivered to all world leaders at once. When politics make that impossible, he escapes custody and quietly blends into American life. Renting a room at a boarding house, he befriends a young boy, Bobby Benson, and his widowed mother, Helen, observing humanity's fear, divisions, and obsession with power. Seeking someone who might really listen, Klaatu turns to scientist Professor Barnhart. To prove the seriousness of his warning, he triggers a stunning demonstration. For 30 minutes, nearly all electrical power on Earth comes to a halt.
I wouldn't want you to harm anybody or destroy anything.
Why don't you leave it to me? I'll think of something.
As the military closes in, Klaatu gives Helen a phrase capable of stopping Gort if he is killed. That phrase,
Klaatu, Barada, Nikto,
has become legendary among sci-fi fans. Klaatu's message is clear. Humanity must abandon aggression and nuclear ambition or face consequences from a greater interplanetary power. What makes The Day the Earth Stood Still one of the greatest science fiction films of all time is that it questions whether humanity is mature enough to survive. And more than 70 years later, that question still hasn't been answered. Number 4. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956.
He's blank. Waiting for the final finished face to be stamped onto it.
But whose face?
In a quiet California town, Dr. Miles Bennell returns from a trip to find patients claiming that close friends and family members are no longer truly themselves. They might look the same and sound the same, but something is missing. Miles thinks it's a form of mass hysteria. That belief collapses when friends discover a half-formed human body in their home, featureless at first, but slowly developing into an exact duplicate of one of them. Miles soon finds another replica forming in Becky's basement and uncovers a horrifying truth. Alien seed pods are replacing people while they sleep, creating emotionless copies that retain memories but lack humanity.
Jack! Jack!
As the town quietly changes, phone lines are blocked, authorities are compromised, and trucks loaded with pods begin leaving for other communities. Miles and Becky run, desperately trying to stay awake, as smiling neighbors and friends urge them to surrender and leave their pain behind.
Love, desire, ambition, faith. Without them, life's so simple, believe me.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers remains one of the greatest science fiction films ever made. It suggests that the most terrifying threat is the quiet loss of personal identity, happening gradually all around you while you're most vulnerable. That's why the film is still unsettling and so effective decades later. Number 3, Planet of the Apes, 1968.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Astronaut George Taylor awakens from hibernation to find that his spacecraft crash-landed on a strange, seemingly desolate world far in the future. Exploring the landscape, he and his crew encounter primitive humans, only to be violently ambushed by intelligent, weapon-wielding apes who hunt humans for labor and experimentation. Wounded and captured, Taylor is taken to Ape City, where an ape society exists, with a rigid hierarchy structure. Cared for by compassionate chimpanzees Zira and Cornelius, Taylor shocks them when they discover that this human animal can actually think, reason, and write. Their superior, the powerful Dr. Zaius, sees Taylor as a dangerous threat to ape history and belief, and tries to silence him. As Taylor forms a bond with a mutant human woman named Nova, he's put on trial as an impossibility that must be explained away.
It is scientific heresy that is being tried here. Well put, Dr. Zayas.
Branded heretics, Zira and Cornelius flee with Taylor into the forbidden wasteland beyond Ape City. There, buried remains of a lost civilization force a confrontation over who truly ruled this planet first. The journey ends with one of the most devastating revelations in film history, a shocking final image that redefined everything that came before, making this one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. Number 2, The War of the Worlds, 1953.
Look at it, will you?
Beings from another world.
A glowing object crashes near a small California town, initially dismissed as a meteor. Atomic scientist Dr. Clayton Forrester quickly realizes it's something else. Hollow, highly radioactive, and deliberately placed. As a crowd gathers, a hatch slowly opens and a metal probe emerges, unleashing a devastating heat ray that instantly kills 3 men approaching under a white flag.
What are we going to say to them? Welcome to California. Come on.
Soon, similar cylinders fall around the world, and the US military surrounds the crash site, only to be helpless as massive Martian war machines rise from the ground, protected by invisible force fields. Attempts at peaceful contact fail, and tanks, artillery, and jet fighters are effortlessly destroyed. Humanity's most advanced weapons prove useless. Forrester and college instructor Sylvia Van Buren flee the destruction, surviving a plane crash and taking refuge in an isolated farmhouse where they witness the Martians up close, advanced, ruthless, yet biologically fragile.
Something moved out there!
As cities fall and even nuclear weapons fail, Los Angeles evacuates in chaos. Separated in the exodus, Forrester searches the ruins, believing Sylvia has sought refuge in a church as the machines close in. What makes The War of the Worlds one of the greatest science fiction films ever made is its humility. Humanity doesn't win through courage or technology, it survives by chance. The film reminds us how small we are in a much larger universe, a message that remains unsettling today. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Metropolis, 1927. Things to Come, 1936. The Thing from Another World, 1951.
We finally got one.
We found a flying saucer.
Can anybody see anything through the ice from where you are?
Only an outline.
Nothing but a dark shape. There, see?
And now for number 1, 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
In Earth's distant past, a struggling tribe of early hominins encounters a mysterious black monolith. Shortly afterward, one of them learns to use a bone as a tool and a weapon, marking a sudden leap in intelligence and dominance. Millions of years later, another monolith is discovered buried beneath the moon's surface. When exposed to sunlight, it emits a powerful signal aimed towards the planet Jupiter. 18 months after that signal, the spacecraft Discovery 1 heads for Jupiter, carrying astronauts Dave Bowman and Frank Poole, 3 scientists in hibernation, and the ship's sentient computer HAL 9000. When HAL reports a fault that proves non-existent, Bowman and Poole quietly consider disconnecting the computer.
There isn't a single aspect of ship operations that's not under his control. If he were proven to be malfunctioning, I wouldn't see how we'd have any choice but disconnection.
I'm afraid I agree with you.
Reading their lips, Hal takes lethal action, killing the hibernating crew, sending Poole adrift into space, and locking Bowman out of the ship. Bowman survives a harrowing emergency re-entry and shuts Hal down, reducing the once calm machine to a frightened, childlike voice. Only then does Bowman learn the mission's true purpose, to follow the monolith's signal to Jupiter. There he encounters a vastly larger monolith and is pulled through an otherworldly journey that ends with a transformation suggesting the next stage of human evolution. 2001: A Space Odyssey doesn't explain itself or offer any comfort. It expands science fiction into something philosophical, abstract, and unsettling. The effects were truly groundbreaking in a time without CGI. Love it or not, it permanently changed what the genre could be, and everything that followed had to respond to it. That's why it stands out as the #1 greatest sci-fi film of all time. What's really interesting about these films isn't the order or which one's better than the other one. It's that we're still talking about them at all. Decades later, they're still revisited, reinterpreted, and sometimes misunderstood. But the originals have never been forgotten. Each one reflects the fears, hopes, and questions of its time, and somehow still manages to speak to our time. That's the mark of classic science fiction. These films weren't perfect, but they survived the test of time. That's a big part of why I make these videos. It's to keep these classic films alive, not just as titles on a list, but as ideas worth revisiting, discussing, remembering, and passing along to the next generation of curious viewers. All I ask is not to let these films die, because once we stop talking about them, that's when they disappear forever. This is Rich from Rerun Zone. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.